Welcome to today's webinar titled New Nursing Education in the Fall of 2020. The format will be a panel discussion featuring Kathleen Williamson, President and Academic Dean at Mount Carmel College of Nursing, and Scott Dolan, Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs, also at Mount Carmel. Thank you both for joining me today. Mount Carmel has had some success in transition to online clinical and classroom learning, particularly getting faculty and student buy-in. Why did you think that Mount Carmel has had success in transitioning to online learning, particularly getting faculty and student buy-in?
I think part of the early success, and I'm going to attribute a little of this to what was happening at the time we transitioned. At the time we transitioned, everybody was very much aware of what was going on with the COVID virus and, you know, the need for any type of social distancing. And I think when we decided to make the transition, the success came from everybody understood what the goal was. We had one primary goal, and early on, our primary goal, when it translated all the way through, was always to maintain student progression in the program. That was, and you know, because we have freshmen, sophomores, and juniors who need to still continue in the program so they can graduate on time, and we had seniors who were preparing for graduation. So we, you know, that was the one goal, and that was what was in front of every faculty member's plan. You know, how do we maintain and make this the best learning experience we can for the students while we live up to our vision and our mission as a college? The other part that led to that is we leveraged the tools and resources we had here at the college. We already have a great undergraduate program that is online and works with students online in a consistent fashion. Those faculty stepped right up and said, any way we can help your faculty who need to transition to this new form of learning, synchronous online learning, we're here to help.
Yeah, I think that was a big key for getting faculty ready. I think the other thing is that going back to Scott's comment on the vision, and I'll just read our vision, is to be the innovative academic center preparing nurses as the most trusted partners in healthcare. And we take that very seriously, particularly the word preparing nurses, trusted, as well as being innovative. And this was an opportunity that we were working towards being innovative in that online learning. Our instructional designer also is a big help in all of this and transitioning out and how we can leverage what technology we even had available. When I say technology, it was everything from hardware to software, and making sure that our faculty were comfortable using it, because that's a lot of times the barrier is the opportunity for faculty to play with it and feel comfortable using it. So when they use it for the first time, it seems like they've used it for a couple times already. And so having the faculty who are already using products and, like I said, whatever it was, technology, hardware, software, having the faculty agree to help mentor faculty who are moving in this at a very fast pace, I think was a big key. Our student buy-in really came in with the opportunity for faculty to be comfortable in that online learning environment. Even though they were comfortable being face-to-face, now they were taking what they were doing in the classroom, being that it was a PowerPoint, and standing there and interacting is how you can do that differently, but still give your information out in a way that the students can be engaging. And they found comments back from faculty where that students were actually more engaged in their classrooms, and their attendance had even gone up. Not that you had a bad attendance issue, because it's not usually the case in nursing, but it was even more so. They found that students were more engaged. They felt more comfortable to raise their hand or put a chat in the chat box. And so they found themselves more engaged. And it was just an opportunity for faculty to really embrace that environment once they felt comfortable with it. But we gave the faculty time to feel comfortable in that environment so that they could move into the online environment quickly, but yet with enthusiasm.
And I think one more important component in that success, Brian, is communication.
Yeah.
We had multiple forms of communication. When this COVID situation started, the leadership team, the president, the dean, the associate deans, other key stakeholders began meeting on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And we started, okay, what's the plan? And always a part of that plan is, how are we going to communicate this out to faculty and staff and also students? So the more communication that we could give along the way was very helpful. One of the things that we had a great success with, Kathy and our instructional designer, Thomas Levosh, every morning did a little update, a little YouTube update, and I'll let Kathy tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was going to say it was probably one of the best things to do in line of communication is that we just did about a 5-minute little thing every day, just welcomed everybody, started with a little reflection or quote, but it wasn't really about Thomas and I, it was really helping them transition into that online world. We would talk about what different products are out there. We'd bring faculty in as a guest or other guest speakers into the morning update and really kind of sharing what they were doing in the classroom. And I think that really helped faculty transition into that online world and let them know that we were still on their side and helping them continue through this transition. I still do that pretty much 3 times a week now. After a while, you want to make sure you have good things to say, but I would recommend that opportunity to, leverage that technology, kind of like what we're doing here. It's good. Have a conversation and we can actually videotape that and then share it with others. So I think that opportunity to find other ways to communicate is important for people to find.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. I think others are going to be picking up on that pretty quickly. Maybe you guys could give us just a little glimpse of what you think, what will learning look like this fall at Mount Carmel?
Learning will look like, I think education has changed because of all this. I think there's a lot of people thinking that there were things we couldn't do before, but all of a sudden now we can. And so I think learning will look different in the fall, and I think it will look different even moving forward in the future. I think that there are very opportunistic ways to look at the way we educate our students, and then with our student support and faculty and our technology support, I think that, the remote learning may be in our future and it might look differently. A face-to-face class might look differently. Right now, due to our environment, we're doing what we think is best for our setting, and that right now is to stay remote for the fall, with our students coming back within small groups to do simulation experiences as well as skills lab type experiences. And then we're able to broaden that skills lab throughout our building so that we can maintain that social distancing and support to making sure everybody, faculty, staff, and student feel comfortable being in the building. And that's also working with our community partners to get our students back working with patients, because we know that simulation can only do so much. So we want to get them out there. So anything else?
Yeah, I think Kathy nailed it right on the head. I don't think education's ever going to look the same. And I think this is the opportunity for us as educators to really step back and, start embracing some of those basic theories of pedagogy. I'm a great believer, and I ascribe to Knowles' theory of learning. It's pretty basic, but one of the key components is that student has to be ready to learn when they sit down to learn, not when we assign them a time to learn. So I think the option of moving to hybrid or online forms of learning, even though it's synchronous and you have assigned times, that student may have the opportunity to go back at a later point in time when they're more prepared to sit and listen to that material that's delivered, and they may get more, they'll probably get a little more out of it. So I agree with Kathy. I don't think we're ever going to go back to the sage on the stage again. At least I hope we wouldn't.
Yeah, and there's evidence to support that. And one of the models that we've worked with and actually shared as one of the morning updates this past couple weeks was about the SAMR model. And the SAMR model is from Ruben Puentedora, and it's about enhancement through transformation, and that we can substitute or augment. And the idea is really to modify and redefine education, or how we use technology to educate. And so by doing that, we really transform learning. And I think we've seen that occurring. I would hopefully ask that others that are thinking that their education has been transformed, is that we got to write about it. I also believe that simulation can look very different than from what it has in the past, because we've opened the door to using technology and through simulation experiences that learning can take place. And so for nursing to share that with others is important. I'll also make one other comment too, is that we're also a Quality Matters school. That means that we have a specific rubric, and we attest to that we follow the Quality Matters learning and technology as we build in our classes. So we also use that as the opportunity to share with faculty what that means from moving from face to face to online. So those that are using Quality Matters might understand that here, but we've also used that as a benchmark because all our online classes are Quality Matters certified.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Sounds like that's some exciting changes happening.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. One of the questions that we get a lot is, you know, there's faculty members that are they're all along the spectrum with their comfort levels with technology, and really, and how has the transition been for faculty, and what are some ways that you work with faculty members that may not be as comfortable with technology, knowing that that is the future, you know, moving forward?
Well, to begin with, we know that change is never easy.
No.
And it's never, you know, when you're used to doing something. I think this specific period in time presented us with a set of circumstances that were such that we had to. So, but I think you also in that set of circumstances, what we did was we acknowledged and allowed them to be uncomfortable. But in their being uncomfortable, we also reassured them that you'll have the tools necessary. That if you need help, we have it here for you. You have to think of yourself, and I thought of the leadership team and the tech team and the instructional design, everybody else, as kind of those supports under the bridge, holding the faculty up at that point in time. So if a faculty member needed something, how do we get it to them? What resources can we equip them with? You know, recognize that they're uncomfortable, but they always will not be uncomfortable, and we'll make sure that you're ready to go come Monday morning when you have to deliver that class.
Yeah, and a lot of that was the resources too, like our instructional designer, Thomas, was always available. I think that when we videotaped the morning update that had something about Nearpod or the blue big button in Canvas or whatever it might be that might be using, or having faculty come in, I think that was probably a really good option, was having faculty come in and talking about what they're doing in their classroom, because it just wasn't us saying that, hey, you could do this. You can actually hear from people who are really doing some really unique and very innovative things in their classrooms. And I think it goes back to, you know, grounding them that, you know, we are in a new time here and technology is going to be there for us. And so what are their needs? And so asking them to reach out to find out what support that they needed. And that's what those 3 days were when we had sort of that boot camp. We had 3 full days of an opportunity for faculty to ask a lot of questions and be supported by their peers as well. And so they can have that opportunity to practice and then also kind of get that uncomfortableness out of them, so to speak. But again, I think it goes back to the model with the SAMR model too, is helping educate faculty. It doesn't happen overnight. That, you know, it still has to meet your goals. It still has to meet your outcomes. It still has to meet your unit outcomes, because it's not about the using of technology. That's the difference. That's the conduit to get you to the end result. And so if you don't look at technology as something I have to use to get somewhere, because it's not where you want to go, it's the student wants to go and you want to educate, technology is just a device to get you there. So, you know, sharing with faculty that they can be uncomfortable with this, but what's the outcome that you want to achieve, and you work toward that. And this is just the process that you'll get there.
And I think one other thing that worked successfully was we listened to their ideas too. You empower your faculty. Your faculty will step up to a challenge. You know, it's almost like when we say with students, if we raise the bar, the students will come up to the bar. Well, in this case, the bar was raised, and the faculty, in our case, I have to say, came up and surpassed them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So, you know, they had a lot of good ideas. So empower your faculty to bring those ideas forward. And, you know, I'm thinking of my faculty, listen to me, the faculty that were teaching Skills Lab. And I told him, I said, we're not going to be able to come in for skills lab. Here's what you have to do. You guys know what you have to do. I can provide you virtual simulation skill stuff. You guys take it from there. And they took and ran with it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Excellent. So last question would be, I know that Mount Carmel has been using Nursing Central for a while. Really, what are some ways that it's going to fit into this new way of learning that you've discussed here for in today's webinar?
I would have to go back and say again, it's Nursing Central. I said this in our first session. Nursing Central's a toolbox, or a part of the toolbox that we can put several tools into, and how that will fit into this new way of learning. The new way of learning is going to be about us empowering students to use technology as a tool at their fingertips to deliver safe patient care, safe and competent patient care.
Evidence-based care.
And evidence-based care, yes.
Yes.
So, you know, Nursing Central will be is already a part, but it'll be more prevalent in every course, and we'll integrate and work with the students to use that tool, both in the course and in the clinical.
There's so many resources that are available to the student through Nursing Central. I think it's really a pivotal piece of equipment and resources that it doesn't matter if the student is in a clinical setting, a simulation setting, skills lab, or classroom. It's where they're going to get and use information to be able to make decisions. And those decisions need to be evidence-based decisions on the care that they provide. So it's a way for them to get the knowledge to then transform that into their critical thinking skills to make a judgment about care. And that care then is right at the point of care, but they can help learn to use use their mind to be able to make a judgment on decision making with the best information possible. And if Nursing Central then really becomes pivotal at every crossroads, because it's about that transition to practice. And if they can work on making decisions with the correct and the right information in the palm of their hand, they'll be able to make a good judgment. And that doesn't matter if it's in a clinical sim or on a test. This information is right there and available to them. And then it's also linked to, you know, we've got ours linked in our library. And so if you're looking for resources, the students are going to have access to full text if available through our library. So it brings those library resources right there also in the palm of their hand or on their iPad or on their computer. So this isn't just about clinical courses. This really transcends all courses because it's an all-in-one product that's really on a device or multiple devices that one can access. And our faculty are working through ways that we can continue to integrate it as it's part of this is how you make decisions. This is how you're going to go about driving care. This is how you're going to, you know, understand how you're going to think through a case scenario. And this case scenario may be one that you're going to then go take care of somebody like this in the hospital, and they will have those resources available.
That's great. Okay, well, Scott and Kathy, thank you so much for coming out and answering these questions today. I think it's going to be very helpful for many faculty that are dealing with a lot of the same issues. For more information about Nursing Central or anything that has to do with what was discussed in the webinar today, you can email sales@unboundmedicine.com. You can also email webinars@unboundmedicine.com. So Kathy and Scott, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.